Hello guys, Lucas here from Stoic Crypto Investing. Today we look at a really interesting video from Michael Saylor. He actually made an interview with the guy and has made a lot of interesting statements that I want to talk about today. I think you already know who Michael Saylor is. He is the popular Bitcoin investor. And the video says that you should sell every other asset before the collapse. So basically, you should sell your assets and invest it into Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that's a really emotional thing to do. It's, yeah, even though Bitcoin could go up in the future, you should not really have this emotional investment approach. But yeah, we will see in the video what he actually means with all of that.
If you're an individual, you should think about all your assets and divide them into three categories. What do I want to save forever, for 30 years? What do I want to invest in businesses that I believe in? And then what do I want to gamble or speculate with for fun?
What I find really interesting about Michael Saylor is that he has always this long-term approach. Most people think, yeah, 5 years is already long, but he thinks even further, like 50 years, 30 years, or even 100 years. He thinks like in generations and not only years. That's what I find really interesting, and you might see that even more during the video.
So some people like to gamble and speculate, and so they'll have a lot of their money in that. Some people are investors, and they kind of feel like they want to invest in some technology or something, and they'll invest in that. But if you just want to save, well, you're saving for a decade, then you just at whatever rate you feel comfortable, you start to acquire Bitcoin and hold it.
So he basically means a cost averaging approach to investing. So you decide that you invest every month like a certain percent of your income into Bitcoin. That's basically what he's saying here.
Right. So I think the Bitcoin will keep going up with volatility forever. So I will continue to buy Bitcoin. I bought it at 10,000. I bought it at 20,000. I bought it at 30,000. I bought it at 40,000. I bought it at 50,000. I'll buy it at 60,000. I'll buy it at 70,000. I'll buy it at 100, 150, 200. I would just gradually sweep my cash flows and convert my excess capital into Bitcoin as I come across it from time to time.
So you can basically see Michael Saylor believes a lot in Bitcoin.
But you take a long view, right? If you're and everybody just has to figure out what their time horizon is. Yeah, I say to people, if you wouldn't hold it for 10 years, you probably shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes.
That's exactly what I meant. He always has this long-term approach with investing.
If you bought something to give to your grandchildren or to your son or your daughter, right? You bought it for the long haul. And then, other money that you need in the near term or that you want to gamble with or invest in, use it for that. But obviously, if you're a long-term saver and you want to buy the apex property, Bitcoin is the apex property of the human race. If you're not sure about it, you should do more research. You go to hope.com, HOPE. We've got lots of research.
I also have a video up here. I have done a course of Charles Hoskinson. He was the co-founder of Ethereum and now has the cryptocurrency Cardano, and he made a Bitcoin course like 10 years ago, and I watched the whole thing and I summarized it all up, and yeah, I linked it up in the description if you want to know more about Bitcoin.
Search on Bitcoin. There's a free course on Bitcoin at the Saylor.org website. Otherwise, go on YouTube and Google and start doing your own research. Come to your own conclusions. Read the books. If you're not convinced, keep investing time until you are, or until you decide not to do something. But once you get an understanding of what it is, generally people get more convicted as they know more, and then they invest more. Most every other asset you can buy has a supply that varies with the demand and with the price.
And that's a really important statement that he's going to make. That's basically a huge part of what Bitcoin is all about.
So if the price of gold goes up by a factor of 10, if gold was $20,000 an ounce, what do you think the gold miners would do?
Produce more.
Yeah. If you could, if you owned a company and the company's stock went up by a factor of 10, what do you think you'd do as the CEO?
Well, probably sell some of my shares
Sell
or
stock.
issue more.
Yeah. If you had debt, if you issued debt and you had to pay 5% interest, and then the interest rate fell, and now I told you could issue debt for 0% interest, would you issue debt?
Yeah, I mean,
So if the price of bonds go up, people create more bonds. If the price of stock goes up, they issue more stock. If the price of gold goes up, they create more gold. If the price of houses go up, people create more houses. So every other asset is naturally inflationary, and the higher the price goes, the higher the supply gets, and that's the society trying to bring the price down.
That's also the greed. When people see there is money to be made, then they will invest or build other stuff that they can sell at a high price.
Um, every company has executives, right? So employee salary go up. What would, if you had 10 employees in your company and your stock price went up by a factor of 20, you think they'd ask for a raise?
or equity.
Yeah. They would say, give me some stock options or, or give me a raise because you're rich. And so if you have employees, if you have executive team, your costs go up when the price goes up. And that's the case with everything. Uh, what happens is all these other things you're investing in, they're not scarce. They're not a scarcity. They're a commodity. What's you own land in New York City on Central Park. If somebody pays $80 million for an apartment on Central Park, what do all the developers do? They have a meeting and they decide to build a new building because they can sell every apartment for 80 million bucks. And now you don't have the only apartment on Central Park. They create more apartments on Central Park. So, yeah, you ever go to Dubai? You think land is scarce? They make land. They built land in the middle of the Red Sea. If the price goes up high enough, everything, all your costs will go up and the supply will go up, the price will come back down again because everything else is not scarce. Bitcoin's scarce. There's 21 million. There'll never be more than 21 million.
That's exactly the point. You will ever have 21 million Bitcoin. There will never be more than that. And there are already a lot of Bitcoins lost because of transactions that did not go through. And even the founder of Bitcoin, he has locked up at least 1 million Bitcoin because he was the first person that mined Bitcoin. And yeah, there is even more scarcity than only 21 million Bitcoin.
You can expect the supply of currency to keep going up. The US dollar will keep inflating. It's inflating at 30% this year. There'll be 10% more year after year after year.
That's actually crazy, 30% if that's true. I, that's really difficult to see how much it inflates because the government does not really want to admit how much it actually is. Yeah, but inflation basically eats your savings away. If you have debt, then it's great, but if you have savings, then yeah, you will lose money when you just save.
Other currencies like the peso, the bolivar, the naira, the ruble, they will also inflate. Your assets denominated in those currencies will also go up in price. If you own stocks like the S&P index, they went up 30% over 12 months. But Bitcoin went up more than 300%.
That's crazy. You 330%, that's like a 10x. That's a lot of money to be made. But we gotta be honest here. The S&P 500 and Bitcoin is way more volatile than the S&P 500. The S&P 500 goes up constantly, or did go up constantly over the years, and we can expect to see that in the future. Bitcoin was just like an up and down. It was really volatile, but eventually, yeah, the value increased quite a lot of Bitcoin.
And gold didn't go up. So if you're an investor, you have to buy a market basket of scarce, desirable assets that other people are going to want to buy from you in 10 years. So ask yourself the question, in 10 years, will someone else with money want to buy the thing that I own?
So here we have it again. He always thinks in the long term. You can't just invest today and expect a good return like tomorrow or in a year. If you want to invest in Bitcoin or in any asset like a stock, you should have a long-term approach. That's always the best way, because yeah, it takes time until you get some return of your investment, or until the value of Bitcoin can go up because of scarcity.
Okay, if you buy some art, well, is it a Picasso? Will people want Picassos? If you buy a sports team, will somebody want to watch football? You know, if you buy a building, will someone want to live in the city or use the building I bought? It's all just a question of how much of that asset will exist in a decade and will people want it?
So I believe now I don't want to go to the end of this video, because afterwards he will start talking about yeah, Dogecoins, and yeah, that you should not invest in them because nobody wants them after a while, and only people that do not have a clue about the market invest in them. But I think Michael Saylor has made the big statement that yeah, the the dollar, the inflation that is happening right now, yeah, people start to get worried how it is going to be in the future about the inflation, and they want to have a hedge against inflation. And Bitcoin is an asset that is not inflatable. So it's an asset in which you can invest and you will not see inflation. And that's pretty appealing, and that's also the reason why he made the statement. But if you go back to the start and look at the title, sell every other asset before the collapse and invest in Bitcoin, I don't think that's the approach. I think the right approach is, as Michael Saylor said, that you have to cost average into the market. You like have, if you want actually to do it, then I don't say that you have to do it, but yeah, you just say I will invest every month like 10% of my salary into Bitcoin, and you do that over 5 to 10 years, and then you will see the return of it. And you don't really care about what happens if the price goes up or down. You just buy it and put it away. Yeah, comes back to Stoic crypto investing. If you just cost average into the market, then you don't worry about the price and you're less emotional about it. And that gives you a lot of time to focus yourself on other things like your family, or a business, or your job, or another project that you have. You just don't worry about this other part. Otherwise, you are on this roller coaster and always look if the price goes up or down, and that's not that good for your health, sanity, and it takes a lot of time away. So I hope I could answer this question, that you should not sell all your assets for Bitcoin. And if you want to do it, that you have the other approach, the cost average approach. And yeah, that's everything from me today. We will see you in the next videos. Bye, guys.